What could you possibly find to top the superior couture of a legendary designer? How about the world's most expensive hat, unveiled in fairy tale style amidst a collection of old master paintings at Christie's in London? The £1.5 million chapeau d'amour by couture hat designer Mariette was modelled by American actress Alicia Witt. The London-based celebrity hat designer says he was inspired to create this dazzling headpiece by a vision of entwined ivy and bluebells from the forest of Cliveden House during springtime. Mariette created the gem-encrusted platinum chapeau in weeks of meticulous manual work. He had every trimming and fabric sourced from far-flung destinations around the globe.
Well, like many things in life, I think every designer needs a piece de resistance. And I remember a couple of years back, I was with some mysterious lover walking in the forest of Cliveden in the bluebell fields and forests. And it was a wonderful moment because, it really captured a spirit. And I'll always remember that day, obviously because my little companion as well. But no, it was a very special thing. And of course, I wanted to recreate that moment and capture it in the design that I'd done. And voila, I'd created it, yes.
Using a base of rare woven platinum fabric, specially commissioned and made in Tokyo, Mariette hand-burnt roses over many hours and then hand-stitched them onto the fabric. A lot of work indeed.
Oh gosh, absolutely. This is weeks and weeks of work. Each of the rows in the fabric is all basically, there's a flame with a burning flame, and what I do is I get a pin heated up and I'm intricately burning the whole pattern out for hours and hours and hours, and then embroidering the actual platinum fabric. But then not only that, the actual flowers continue up into the Lady Amethyst feathers, which I inherited from the Mariage Empire, and actually were passed on to me, and hence the piece was created. But absolutely a lot of time went into it.
The hat is set for more displays at the Melbourne Cup horse race, Monaco, Tokyo and New York. But so far, Mariette has not been tempted to put his pièce de résistance up for sale.
Many people keep saying, well, are you going to sell it? And we've had a few bidders, but it's my little baby, and it's so difficult to part with something that's so special. But if it is parted, it will have to go to a good home, someone who appreciates the love and passion that went into creating this piece.
It's incredible. I feel a bit like a princess, and I caught a quick glimpse of myself in a mirror as I was walking down here, and I just thought it reminds me of Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. It's that sort of dress-up, glamorous thing.
The celebrity milliner is known for creating theatrical fashion shows. His hats have been modelled by top names, including Jodie Kidd, Sophie Dahl and Lisa Butcher. Coming up, a holiday on ice. If you're bored with holidaying in the world's most popular hotspots, perhaps it's time to broaden your horizons and consider somewhere a little cooler for that holiday of a lifetime with a difference. You could be one of the first to experience an extreme adventure trip to the Arctic Circle. But can the North Pole really become a tourist destination? Putting the idea to the test, Russia's polar expedition officials have recently been hosts to the first group of polar tourists. They believe that if the Russian Space Agency can offer tourism in space, they can do the same in the North Pole. A group of 20 people, including some of the cast of Nordost, a musical about a Russian polar expedition that perished in the North Pole in 1912, went to the frozen wastes of the Arctic Circle on the first ever organised tour. Of course, if you do fancy a holiday on the polar ice, you will have to obey a few house rules. Don't go beyond that snow hut or anywhere else alone. It could be dangerous. There could be cracks in the ice and polar bears out there. Russian polar expedition officials have teamed up with tour companies specialising in so-called extreme tourism and are already running the trips. Up to 5 trips a month are planned, weather conditions permitting. Valery Koshelev, who heads up the Polar Expedition Enterprise, believes they're on to an icy winner.
Туризм, конечно, он будет.
I'm thoroughly convinced that more and more people will start coming here in the future.
Это абсолютно однозначно.
And this will open up more opportunities for tourism.
Людей, которые состоятельные, которые могут заплатить такие огромные.
Of course, we'll have to have more planes here, and we'll need less expensive fuel.
Мы привозим, вот привезли.
You see, at the moment, only the rich and well-to-do people can afford such trips.
Два капитана, полярных летчиков.
But we hope that in the future, we can bring other people here as well.
Увидят, как это все, на основе чего вложился вот этот материал.
If this kind of holiday appeals to you, you'll need to book well in advance and be prepared to pay in the region of $8,000 to $11,000. The tours last 5 days and are only available in April, when temperatures climb to around minus 35 degrees Celsius, which is warm in comparison to average lows of minus 60 degrees Celsius in the winter. And the first group of polar tourists seem to have enjoyed the experience, whiling away the endless hours of daylight with a spot of snow badminton and cooling down their drinks with some genuine polar ice.
У меня слов нет, если честно говорить.
I'm speechless. I could not even dream that one day I would find myself in the North Pole.
В общем, я счастлива.
I'm so happy. Now I can mark the North Pole on my globe at home and tell everyone that I've been here, on the Earth's axis.
Спасибо всем, это здорово.
They say that a change is as good as a rest. So if you can withstand sub-zero temperatures, constant daylight hours, basic accommodation, and are not afraid of polar bears, then maybe the North Pole is for you. How much would you pay for your favourite bottle of wine? £50? $200? An anonymous wine connoisseur has just bought what is thought to be the most expensive bottle of white wine in the world, at £55,000. It's a 1787 vintage Sauterne from Chateau Yquem. Stephen Williams, managing director of London-based Antique Wine Company, helped source the wine from a private collector in France. He will now fly by private plane to deliver the wine to his US client.
Well, Chateau Yquem is made from shriveled up, overripe grapes, and this produces a very sweet, concentrated wine that has the capability of remaining drinkable for many, many years. As far as we know, there are only 3 bottles in the world, and naturally, something that gets better and better as it gets older becomes very, very valuable. Well, our client is an American multimillionaire, and we have a lot of very special clients. But I have to say that with bottles like this, it's more difficult to find the wine than it is to find the client.
At well over 200 years old, this £55,000 vintage from Bordeaux has seen a lot of history.
When these grapes were being picked, Marie Antoinette was sitting there in Versailles waiting to have a head chopped off. James Watt was inventing or developing the steam engine, and George Washington had just been nominated as the first president of the United States of America. At the time, so. What's important to us is that we thoroughly research its history. We know that the wine was recorked in 1953 and again in 1994, and that's been verified by the owner of the chateau at that time.
But will the wine's new owner be tempted to crack open the bottle?
Well, knowing our client, let's just suppose that he had the right company around the table. Then I suspect that even at $15,000 a glass, he might find it difficult to resist the temptation.
Next time, we bid for some very desirable memories. We sift through a treasure trove of gifts for Oscar hopefuls. And remember a piece of Hollywood history. Before taking the plunge with some very pampered pooches. Signature silver wigs sold for $10,800.
I think there's a lot of crossover between our clients who collect celebrity memorabilia, who will be very interested to acquire some of that material. Just the very